As the US-Israel joint military attack on Iran enters its third week, oil prices see an unprecedented rise. As per the market reports, the Brent crude oil touched $112 barrel of crude oil. This marks a rise of 54% since March 2025. Oil data records that since the inception of the US-Iran war, the prices have risen by at least 55%. Before February 28, 2026, the Brent crude oil prices stood at $72 barrels of crude oil. However, since the war, the oil has been touching $100 to $112 barrel of crude oil. The Strait of Hormuz lies at the heart of soaring oil prices. The US-Israeli intense military strikes on Iran saw a devastating strategic move by the nation. In retaliation for the US and Israeli forces, Iran has blocked the maritime choke point called the Strait of Hormuz. This move, although it primarily hurts US allies in the Gulf, but after 18 days of war, the closure of Hormuz has brought the world to a standstill. The Strait of Hormuz lies between north of Iran and south of Oman and the UAE. The channel is the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the open sea. The channel, being 55 to 60 miles wide, becomes dramatically pinched near Iran. At its narrowest point, Hormuz shrinks to 20 to 21 miles. This bottleneck geography of the Hormuz brings it near the Iranian coastline of Bandar Abbas port. Hence, the Iranian Navy has been controlling and threatening oil supplies through the channel. The Gulf nations, along with Iran, are heavily dependent on their oil exports through the Strait of Hormuz. As per the 2025 data, the Gulf nations exported around 20 million barrels of oil per day. Energy data shows that 1/5 of the liquefied natural gas also passes through Hormuz. The US-Israel's war with Iran has jolted the global economy because since the start of the war, the whopping 20 million barrels of oil export per day have almost come to zero. Iran has been hurting US allies in the Gulf who rely on their oil exports by controlling this strategic maritime point. The Iranian Navy, with its sea mines, drones and fast boats, has almost attacked 20 oil tankers in Hormuz. The continuous attacks have stalled all the traffic in Hormuz while the world gapes for oil supply. Iran has not only closed the Strait of Hormuz but has also attacked some of the largest oil refineries in the Gulf. Since the February 28th war, Iran has at least attacked 6 oil refineries, halting oil production. These disruptions and damage to the refineries have further shot the oil prices up. Asia, being the primary consumer of Gulf oil and LNG exports, has found itself at the center of the Middle East crisis. Reportedly, over 70% of the oil exports are destined for Asian markets. China and India are the two major importers of Gulf oil. After the Hormuz blockade, although countries are sourcing oil from non-Hormuz routes, but these imports are costing $112 barrels of crude oil, marking a rise of 55% before the war. Apart from the oil disruption, the Iranian blockade of Hormuz has also brought an LNG crisis. As Qatar supplies have been halted due to Iran's recent strike on the Ras Laffan facility, LNG hits a new low. Ras Laffan is the world's largest LNG exporter. Due to the damage to its facility, Qatar has slashed production. Asian JKM hits 35.40 million British thermal units, recording a rise of 200% from the pre-2026 wartime. The European markets have also seen a price rise of 44 to 66% from the pre-February wartime. The Strait of Hormuz also carries 1/3 of the fertilizer exports from Gulf nations. The LNG shortage, combined with the fertilizer crisis, has driven up food prices. UN warned that if the Middle East supply disruption continues by June, the price rise can push 45 million people to acute hunger. Although the US and Israel have not yet announced any formal timeline for ending the war, the world is hoping for a ceasefire to bring respite to the global markets and also to humankind.